Welcome to this business-orientated episode of the Professional Plumber Podcast. My name is Willem, I'm your host, and in this episode, we will be talking about the PIRB's new CPD rewards program. We'll have a look at what it is, what purpose it serves, how it works, and how registered plumbers can benefit from being rewarded for improving and developing and continuously doing so their knowledge and skills about their industry and their trade. Now, joining me for this conversation is Simone van Wyk. Simone is the CPD manager for the PIRB. Simone, a warm welcome to you and thanks for joining me in studio.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, so Simone, I think that there's a lot of plumbers, especially those that are registered, that would be interested to find out more about the CPD rewards program. And I think that there's a lot to be said about it because this is something new for them and it's something exciting that the PIRB is bringing to the table. And I'm looking forward to our conversation. But I think before we delve into the details of our conversation, let's just go to a quick ad break. To our listeners and our viewers, don't go away. Do stay tuned because Simone and I will be right back after this.
It's an exciting time to be a professionally registered plumber. The PIRB's leaderboard provides plumbers with the opportunity to be placed onto a ranking system to see how they perform amongst their peers around the country. This ranking system enables both plumbers and consumers to identify top local plumbers and monitor their performance nationally and regionally. Consumers will always look for the best, and at the top is where you'd want to be. It is therefore very important to be dedicated to continuously upskilling yourself through continuous professional development activities. The CPD points you accumulate during the CPD program will allow you to be rated on the leaderboard as you grow. The ranking system runs on a 3-month rolling average, where you can find yourself at the very top by accumulating more points than your peers. Top-ranked plumbers also stand a chance to win prizes through a lucky draw, where winners are announced on the PIRB's Plumbing 101 shows on YouTube. Do not miss out on the opportunity to be highlighted as an elite plumber in South Africa. Start accumulating points and become one of the best. Get skilled, get rewarded.
Welcome back to this episode of the Professional Plumber Podcast with myself, Willem, and Simone van Wyk of the PIRB, in which we are discussing the CPD rewards program of the PIRB. Simone, just before we get into the details of our conversation about what the CPD rewards program is, how it works, how it differs from the previous or the current CPD system, etc., just a quick introduction of yourself to our audience so that they know who you are and where you fit into the scheme of things.
Yeah, sure. I was with the Pest Control Association for 16 years, where I was the operations manager, and I've been with PIRB as a CPD manager for just a little bit over 3 years now.
Mm-hmm. Specifically in the CPD department.
CPD department.
The busy department.
Yes.
I think between that and the registrations department.
Yes, definitely.
All right, Simone, so I'm going to kick off with this. Many registered plumbers have a sort of I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Many plumbers have, and registered plumbers have this sort of a misperception or a negative perspective of CPD, continuous professional development. I think many of them see it as something that's sort of forced onto them, and if they don't achieve it, then there's a negative impact on their status, etc., etc. But I think that there's also a misunderstanding of what CPD really is, continuous professional development. So if you don't mind, just sort of reintroduce CPD, continuous professional development, to our audience quickly.
Yeah, sure, no problem. CPD at the end of the day is the individual's self-growth, development of each plumber in South Africa by developing themselves as an individual, but collectively then developing the industry as a professional industry. And CPD is very easy. People see it as this huge thing forced onto them. And if you if you chat with me, then you will understand that CPD is actually very easy to do. It's available online. It's available everywhere. So people don't have to have this negative attitude about CPD, because you as an individual grow yourself. And by growing yourself as a professional, you grow your industry as a whole.
Developing yourself.
Yes,
It's
of
developing
course.
yourself. So you're basically developing your knowledge
Yes.
about
And
your trade, and your skills that is needed for your trade and for your industry,
Yes.
by continuously learning about new things. I mean, the industry doesn't stand still.
No.
Everything continuously evolves. There may be things like new tools, new methods, new type of materials and products that they can use.
Yes.
And, things like the standards and regulations, law and legislation may change from time to time. It may be reviewed, it may be updated. And if plumbers don't keep up with those kind of things, they're going to lag behind, they're going to fall behind in knowing what is the current trends and the current things within the industry. So am I right to say that my perception of what CPD is continuously keeping up with what's going on within your trade?
Yes, I think many plumbers out there, especially the older generation, learned it from their fathers, and they've been doing it the same way for many, many years. So by doing CPD, continuous professional development, they keep up with, like you said, changes in the industry, changes in tools, changes in methods, and by developing themselves, everybody in the industry then grows as a whole. Yeah.
Develops the industry by individual plumbers continuously developing themselves,
Yes.
and improving and learning more and growing, so they will eventually uplift the whole trade.
Absolutely, yeah.
The whole trade.
Yeah.
I mean, after all, it's a professional trade now, hey? That's why
Yes.
there's a professional body for it.
Yeah.
They are professionals in what they do.
Yeah, and plumbers fall in the same category as lawyers and teachers and
Engineers, architects,
yeah.
and those kind of things.
It's a profession.
Yes.
It's not only you wake up one morning and you say, oh, I want to be a plumber.
All right. So now that we've reiterated to them what CPD is and the importance thereof, and why it's important for individuals to uplift themselves, to develop themselves, and collectively then uplifting and developing and taking forward, progressing their trade and their industry, let's have a look at the rewards system, the CPD reward system, this new this new thing that the PIRB is putting. So most plumbers they're used to the current system of CPD, where they are they are used to having or being required to achieve a specific number of CPD points in a 12-month period. And then also, if they don't achieve that, then that sort of has an impact or a negative impact on their registration status. But this may also be one of that negative impact that it has if they don't achieve it. This may also be one of the reasons why there's such a negative connotation to CPD. But now with the CPD rewards program, that is a completely different approach. That is a 100% a more positive approach.
Yes,
that
absolutely, yeah.
So tell us about it. What is it? How does it work? How is it different from the current or the previous system, the CPD system?
Okay. So in the previous system, then the plumbers had to achieve, let's say for the learners 10 points, for the licensed plumbers 20 points, for the master plumbers 35 points. Now, if you didn't achieve your points, you had to catch up, which was very overwhelming for the plumbers, because they saw this as a task that they won't be able to do. So although we guided them and showed them how to do this, they were still like, I don't have time. How am I going to do this? And there was this, like you said, negative connotation attached to this. But they couldn't re-register or buy COCs if they didn't reach their points. Now with the new system, everybody's profiles are active. They can buy COCs. And then what makes it, let's say, worth their while is they now get rewarded for keeping their CPD points up to date. So if you keep on doing something like webinars and podcasts and on a regular basis, you keep on building those points, and then the system consists of tiers now, so levels. So if you've got your blue level, your blue tier, you've got your bronze tier, your silver, your gold, and then your diamond status. Each tier is connected to a specific discount structure. So if you do keep your points high all the time and you do reach diamond status, let's say for instance, when your renewal comes up, then you can get 100% off your renewal fees.
Oh wow!
So this is what
that's one example of the rewards that they can get. And in other words, that's one example of how they can get rewarded.
Yes.
Purely for keeping up with their trade,
Yes.
for continuously developing themselves
Yes.
within their trade, their skills and their knowledge of their trade and their industry.
Yes, by developing yourself as a plumber and developing your skills as a plumber, you get rewarded. So you can buy your COCs at a discount, you get your renewal fees at a discount, but the secret is you have to keep it up all the time. Continuous. That is why it's called continuous professional development.
Yes. And you did mention, that there's a lot of activities, and people always say, yeah, but I don't have time. But many plumbers don't realize that many of the activities on your list is already part of their day-to-day activities, what they do.
Yeah.
It's not an additional thing that they have to do. But the fact is now that it's a more positive approach. Instead of getting penalized for not achieving their CPD points, they now are rewarded for keeping them and rewarded in those tiers, according to those tiers, depending on the number of CPD points that you have achieved, you get more discount on this and more discount. So the rewards differ from how you have kept up.
Yes.
We are running out of time before we have to go into our next ad break. So what I want to do, I want to shoot one last question for you before we go into a quick ad break. What happens to their current and their existing CPD points up until the point, because it was the CPD rewards program was launched when was that?
On the 1st of March.
The 1st of March, 2023.
Yes.
From that date, what happened to everybody's CPD points that they have accumulated up until that date?
Okay, so all the points that they accumulated from up until the 1st of December to the 28th of February, the day before launch, was locked. So if you open your profile, then you will see that there's an opening balance. And those are the points that you ended off the old system with and started your new system with. And then from there, you can now build it.
So, all right. So just quickly, if I'm understanding correctly, if a plumber had accumulated 5 CPD points by the 1st of March 2023, that'll be his opening balance with which he starts off with this new CPD rewards program.
Yes.
If he had accumulated 20 points already, that will be his
opening balance of his new profile.
Wow. All right. So I've got quite a few other questions. I'm quite excited about asking them to you, Simone. And it's all for you, the listener and the viewer out there. But we have to go into a quick ad break. Please don't go away. Do stay tuned, because Simone and I will be right back right after this.
Good day. How can I help you?
Hi, I'm here to log in my COCs, but I seem to be having an issue with my computer.
No problem. But did you know that you can log your COCs using an app on your cell phone?
Oh, what app is that?
It's called the App Plumber. Do you have a smartphone with you?
Yes, I do.
Oh well, let me show you how it works.
Not only can you access your PIRB profile on the App Plumber, but you can also earn CPD points while exploring the plumbing industry in the palm of your hand. Download the app from Google Play Store and join thousands of other happy users.
Welcome back. You are still tuned into a lekker business-orientated episode of the Professional Plumber Podcast with myself, Willem and Simone van Wyk, the CPD manager of the PIRB. And today we are discussing the CPD rewards program that the PIRB has recently implemented and brought about to make CPD less of a punitive measure and more of an encouragement to continuously learn more about your skill, your trade and your industry, by upskilling yourself and by learning about new methods, new tools, new materials, all of those kind of things, instead of not reaching your sort of required CPD points that they were used to in the past and then being penalized there for it. Now, whereas you continuously learn about and develop yourself, you now get rewarded for that. So just before we went into this ad break, we were looking at how the old system sort of is different from the new reward system. And we quickly looked at what happens to the plumbers' existing CPD points. Does it get carried over? Is that their starting point from where they kick off for the new CPD rewards program? Right, but what I want to ask you now is CPD activities. There's an existing list of what plumbers can do to receive CPD points.
Yes.
There's a whole list of activities.
Oh, yes, there are many.
And before we went into our ad break, earlier on in our conversation, we said that plumbers complain, I don't have time to. It's one of the reasons I don't have time to, because they see it as something extra that they have to do on top of their normal day-to-day activities and work that they do. Whereas many of those activities are already included in what they do daily.
Yes.
All right. But then they also complain about, I don't have extra money to pay to do certain activities. Has this list sort of been updated, or does it make provision for the new CPD rewards program? And also quickly, where can they find this list? Where can plumbers go to find a list to see what activities they can do to claim CPD points for, so that they can have a clear understanding of everything, the entire list. Where can they get that? And please give us a couple of examples of typical activities that are not necessarily additional things that plumbers have to do to set additional extra time aside for.
Willem, CPD, and I always, when people find me, say CPD is easy. And CPD is easy. If you look at what's available on the CPD list, the activities that's available, like you said, is some things they do without realizing that they doing activities that they can claim CPD points for. So if you take in a learner, for instance, he hasn't done his course yet, but he would like to be a plumber. That is mentor a learner plumber, and you do it daily. He's part of your team. He works with you. You're mentoring him, and you can claim CPD points for that. If you help somebody in the community, somebody like a school or a creche or a church, or somebody that can really not afford plumbing, but has a problem, a serious problem, then that is part of the CPD list where they can earn CPD points by helping somebody in the community. And then, of course, the list is available on the website.
On PIRB's website.
PIRB's website. So it's www.pirb.co.za. You'll just click on the CPD tab and you will see that there's a menu. Click on the menu and everything is available there. If you get stuck somewhere, you can just give me a call.
I know that some of those activities on that list include, you mentioned listening to the morning webinars.
Yes.
I know that IOPSA has morning webinars. Some of them are business orientated, some of them are health and safety orientated, and some of them are technical, the ones that are on Thursdays. That's a half an hour of a person's time, and it requires only your ears in most instances, and it's also early in the morning, which sort of makes provision for people to listen to that before they actually get in their car and they go out to site. And they can actually listen to it while they're driving. They can chuck their earphones in or put their phone onto Bluetooth onto their radios if they have a Bluetooth capability in their car radio. But then also listen to that. That's something that doesn't necessarily have to take additional time. And then again, it's just one example of something that is easy, it's free of charge, and there's a lot of information about your trade that is shared in those things. Podcasts like this one they can listen to. It's a half an hour episode that they can listen to. Again, sharing very valuable information about your trade and your industry.
Yes, and I think what people sometimes forget is that, yes, we get it quite often on the phone. If somebody phones, I don't have time. Then most of those guys start very early in the morning. By 6 o'clock, they're on site, they're on the road, they've got their teams, they're busy with their teams. So the PIRB's activity system, or the list of activities, make provision for those people as well. So instead of listening to it while you're driving or listening to it live in the morning, it gets recorded. So by 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the recordings are on the website, and you can do it anytime. It's available for you to do. The podcasts are pre-recorded, like we're busy now. So it's not a thing that you have to attend, like a meeting, or
take your time to drive there and back
again, and it takes 2 or 3 hours out of your day. Everything that the CPD offers, that
the industry bodies.
That the industry bodies offer is available online, and it is recorded. So.
But the other thing is, the fact is, and the point that we're trying to make is that there's a list of activities that plumbers can go and have a look at. Pick from those which you can do in your time, in your daily routine.
Yes, absolutely.
That doesn't necessarily cost. You mentioned that, yes, they can go and do a course, for which they then purchase a course. And in many instances, those courses are to not only upskill themselves, but also to get that specialization on their PIRB registration, so that they can become an accredited installer of something like solar, or an accredited installer of heat pumps or those kind of things. So that's not, when we look at courses that are a little bit more expensive, or not expensive, but that cost a little bit more, then those, you don't necessarily do them just to achieve CPD points. You achieve them to also expand your services within your business and become an accredited installer of specific things, and to have that accreditation on your PIRB registration. So you don't do those ones that cost a little bit more just for the CPD points. But what I want to do is, we are running out of time for this episode, and I want to just give the viewers and the listeners out there that sort of peace of mind. I know for a fact that the CPD department is hectically busy with inquiries and checking and verifying that that plumbers, registered plumbers, have indeed done the CPD activities that they are putting their claims in for. You are inundated with queries and questions. How does this work? How do I do that? Sometimes even, why is my CPD points not right anymore? The fact is, the system has now changed from a sort of a perspective where if you don't achieve it, then there's a negative impact, to a more positive approach to like saying, if you do achieve it, you'll get rewarded for it. So that already should serve as a huge encouragement and a motivation for them to then want to do CPD points. But what I want to say is, if they have questions, if they want to ask about the list of activities, if they need any clarity on how this new CPD rewards program works, how can they get rewarded, what type of rewards are there, how does this 5-tier system work, how many points do they need for each tier, and what will they get as rewards for keeping up to date and upskilling themselves, their knowledge and their skills, who can they contact? Where can they contact you? Where can they get hold of the CPD department?
Okay, they can just phone PIRB on 012-654-8245 and ask for me specifically, or they can ask for Lulani, who is assisting in the department, and then we can guide them through, answer all their questions. Even if they go onto the website and something's not clear, the best is to phone me while you in front of your computer, because then I can guide you through. Say, go there, do this, do that, click on here, click on there. And it's much easier. And even with the guys that work only on their phones, everything that's on the website is on the phone available as well. But yeah, they must just keep in mind that we are here to help. And because of the whole system that has changed, it's very overwhelming for some people, and some people think it's wow that there's a new system where you can get rewards.
It's a more positive approach.
Absolutely, yes. But we haven't had that many negative feedback on the new system. The positive feedback is much more. People are now excited to do CPD.
Exactly.
Yes.
More encouraged, more motivated to do it.
And then, but yeah, they're more than welcome to email me at cpdadmin@prb.co.za. They can phone me at the office. I'm always available.
Simone, I want to thank you for your time and effort in having joined me. I do know that your department is extremely busy, and I don't want to keep you too long for it. So we are drawing to a close, and we have actually drawn to a close of this episode. To our listeners and our viewers, I would like to end off from us, my guest Simone and myself. I would like to end off by saying this. The new CPD rewards program. There's a slogan that the PIRB has now for it. It says,
Get skilled, get rewarded.
Get skilled, get rewarded. How nice is that? It's no longer a punitive measure. It's no longer something that's enforced onto you and that has a negative impact on your CPD or on your registration status. It is now something that's positive. If you keep up to date with your industry and your trade by learning and keeping on continuously developing yourselves, your knowledge and your skills about your trade and your industry, you will get rewarded for it instead of penalized if you don't. Right, so that's what I'm going to end off. From myself and from Simone, we're going to say goodbye, but to our listeners and our viewers, don't go away, because right after this, we're bringing you some awesomely interesting industry announcements. Stay tuned for that, but goodbye from the two of us.
Thanks, Willem.
There are only 4 months left till our annual Champions for Charity event, and the space for sponsorships is getting close to being filled up. Don't miss your opportunity to be part of this great event and show that you or your brand has heart. To become one of the sponsors or to buy your ticket for the event, visit www.championsforcharity.co.za. Don't miss out on the Plumbers Evening next week, Thursday, the 20th of April. For all the details, visit www.iopsa.org. Remember that you can book advertising space on any of the PIRB's video productions. To find out more about advertising space, email us at marketing@pirb.co.za or call us at 0861 747 275. And lastly, the PIRB is still committed to ensuring open communication within the plumbing industry. So, if you need information on plumbing or the PIRB itself, please send us your questions via email to communications@pirb.co.za or via WhatsApp to 079 833 6930. Let's watch one of your questions being answered.